my dear friend, do you know why winter is so enchantingly beautiful? Just because real magic is possible at this time of the year. And this miracle is not exactly what we used to think of Christmas, but what is hidden behind the shining lights of modern Christmas trees. Today, I invite you to see for yourself what really exists not in a fairy tale, not in a Christmas, biblical or pagan story, not in a myth or legend, but in reality. I have a tradition of baking a magic pie in a few days before Christmas or on Christmas itself. Let all our wishes for the next year be buttered up and mixed with our loving hands. The days before Christmas tend to be very dark, so let's add some solar energy to our pie. And now the most important thing. We will send all our love from the bottom of the heart to what we have wished for the next year. Let our cherished desires harden and grow stronger. It is well known that a few days before Christmas, on the Winter Solstice, we experience the shortest day of the year and the longest dark night in the Northern Hemisphere. A cold gale-force wind tests our inner strength and resilience to think positively. A snow foam of sad thoughts rolls in waves. Sometimes it seems that there is no light and hope behind all these leaden clouds. But we can remember that dark days are natural for this season. No wonder they say that a human being is the universe in miniature. Every person is a reflection of the processes taking place in the universe. Whether we realize it or not, we feel that the solar energy that restores the vitality of the body is becoming less and less, especially if we live in a restless world, far from nature, which can always share its power with us. I think it's a good winter tradition. A few days before Christmas, go to the forest to find natural home decor, get a little recharged and inspired by the seasonal beauty. Clear your mind of unnecessary thoughts that have accumulated over the past year. Stay with trees and clean your energy next to these natural healers. Our ancestors were really sensitive towards nature. They were truly wise, because they had to rely only on themselves. All that we have now entrusted to specialists and technologies, people knew intuitively. They realized that the sun and its movement across the sky have their own cycle, which affects nature and every living being. They felt how dependent they were on natural phenomena. Now scientists confirm pagan beliefs and holidays, which later become religious and simply received other names and different interpretation. What was called the solstice, or the birth of a new sun, became known as Christmas. But this is an astronomical phenomenon. For several days before and after the solstice, the sun practically freezes in its position. We all have our sacred books, our myths and legends, our prayers and beliefs, our gods and our traditions, but everyone has the same nature. The sun is the same for everyone, and we live according to the same physical laws of nature. Everyday life with its constant worries completely captures us, and that's natural too. But it's good if we let a fairy tale into our lives. In fact, this is not a miracle or magic or even metaphysics, but the real physics and nature. Nature is fading, getting older, wiser and quieter. The trees no longer chatter, rustling their leaves loudly. They turn grey and white, wrap in soft fur coats. I trust my feelings, and every winter I feel like the 3 days before and after the solstice have a special energy that reaches its peak on December 25th. I believe in energy and physics. That's why the main holiday of the year for me is the Winter Solstice, which begins 3 days before that. I put on my grandmother's shawl and go to the forest for pine branches and cones, and on solstice day itself I go out early in the morning to greet and honor the sun. No one taught me that. I haven't read it anywhere. This ritual was born on its own. I just want to spin around the sun, in the rhythm of the sun, in honor of the sun, connecting with the young, powerful sun, and becoming the sun myself. And of course, these days I bake my magic pie, in which there are no special ingredients, witch potions or spells. All the magic is in the love with which I make it. For me, the sun is a symbol of health, vitality, creativity and spiritual power, that is light. Therefore, my winter solstice pie is a pie of life and health. It's a pie of meditation, creativity. It's a pie of magic. Who knows, maybe the sun liked that I bake pies in its honor every winter, and it sent me to the sunniest place in the country. It officially has the highest number of sunny days of the year. And to my great surprise, they made solar decorations for the main Christmas tree here this year. Now, instead of snowman, I have sandman. And instead of sea of snow, I have a sea of sand. Some people will find it uninteresting, but for me it's a really fairy tale. I'm still surprised that you can walk slowly and look at Christmas decorations and not run home with frostbitten fingers and toes. This is the first warm winter in my life. Almost exotic. There are always beacons on our way that shine and help us find our way among the raging waves of stormy life. Christmas days are a magical time when we can find and realize our inner sun and light. And it doesn't require any special rituals. The whole universe seems to freeze for a while to help a person to be reborn with the sun, to detach from the old and create something new in his reality, in his small universe. It hints that we should freeze a little, get distracted from the New Year's Eve fuss, and even immerse ourselves in our darkest corners, where we rarely look. When we become aware of our fears, problems and obstacles, they really lose their power. It is a time for us to clean and decorate not only our homes, but also ourselves, our heads and our lives. We intuitively feel this, so in the dark days of winter, long before Christmas, we begin to prepare for it and create our own winter fairy tale. In fact, we are children of the sun, and it is not fairy tales or metaphysics either. If there is less sun, we want warmth and light, someone gets depressed and becomes prickly like frost, and someone gives their warmth to others. Even the smallest creativity is a meditation. We change ourselves and change the space around us. we begin to light up our little universe, decorating our home, treating our loved ones, and carefully choosing or creating gifts for them. Perhaps you won't believe me, my dear friend. You might say that this whole story was made up for the sake of a fabulous plot. However, when I saw the sun-decorated Christmas tree on the main square here, and this is my first New Year in this place, I thought I should definitely share my magical story and how I celebrate the winter holidays. Then I found out that it is customary here to decorate the main Christmas tree with toys made by the hands of local craftsmen. I felt that I stumbled into a real fairy tale, very heartfelt and kind. You can't find such things anywhere nowadays. Actually, the real fairy tale brought me here on the scarlet sails. But this is another magical story from my 1001 dreamy tales, each of which is actually real. Magic, light and love, it's not fairy tales at all. All this lives in us. We are connected by this to each other on different sides of the planet. And being one big garland, we make this world brighter with our kindness, our faith in miracles and in the power of light. I wish kindness, warmth, light and love to you and your family, my dear friend. With love, your dreamy.